Good evening and welcome to the Slate Call Shop. I'm Aeson Knight, and sitting down with me tonight is Stephen Fardwell. And he's got the new book, The New Universal Dream. Now, he also is, from the Silicon Valley with success. He, started leading the humanities team, a global nonprofit helping people everywhere awaken to the intentionalness, the interconnectedness. He shares his 5 decades of the journey from the American dream to the conscious leadership in his new book. How are you, Steve?
I'm great. Hey, good to be with you, Aeson. Looking forward.
Yeah, it's been a really good time. Now, you've got yourself connected up with this global initiative with a lot of different authors. Many of them have been, guests on the show, the God consciousness and that type of thing. But what prompted you to write this book? Like, what called to you?
Yeah, it was a calling really to share this story, and it's probably it may be an unusual story, though. It starts probably where your viewers and listeners start. I grew up in a very normal home, divorced mom, six brothers and sisters, very small home, and a dog, and I even was paying for my own braces in the sixth grade because family couldn't afford it. So we found an orthodontist that would take a payment plan.
Oh,
And then we fast forward from college 11 years, and I'm out in Silicon Valley in the right place at the right time, starting my first company there.
mm-hmm.
And we took it to $75 million, two guys, used furniture, executive suite in an inexpensive part of San Francisco. And then we birthed a second company inside of the first company that we built to 75 million in 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And that gave me entrance into what I'm going to call the center of wealth creation in Silicon Valley, where people like Gavin Newsom are in my chapter, and Reed
Right.
Hastings hadn't yet started Netflix. He was in the chapter next to me, was doing charter schools at the time, and other people like that were in these business chapters, something called YPO, Young Presidents Organization, that
Yeah.
I was in. And then I, during this time frame, I had went through my own awakening, which then detoured me into this very, very different life that I call conscious living and humanities team.
Mm-hmm. Well, since you were in Silicon Valley, what's your thoughts of everyone talking about companies moving out of Silicon Valley and businesses moving to other areas? Because Silicon Valley in itself has been kind of like a hub for a lot of new technologies.
Yeah, Silicon Valley is going to be a draw, way past the end of our lifetimes.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to start a business, as I did, where I started my two companies there in Silicon Valley, no better place in the whole world because of the schools that are located there, the money sources,
Mm-hmm.
the business opportunity. We were business to business as these companies that I started. So it's got a great future. There's a little pullback now, as we know there's some challenges in San Francisco and
Right.
homelessness and things, but they'll get their arms around these challenges, and Silicon Valley will continue to nothing but grow.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you think some of the silicon that's actually in the valley there and the vibration affects the growth and the productivity out of those, young presidents and the new thinking that goes on there?
Yeah, absolutely. You've got Berkeley there, Cal Berkeley, you've got
Mm-hmm.
Stanford, two great schools, and other really fantastic schools that are there. Santa Clara University, the
Mm-hmm.
UC school system. You've got the venture community that's located right there on Sand Hill Road.
Right.
The dominant venture companies that are funding a lot of this work,
Right.
and so you've got a lot of then entrepreneurs that move out there
Mm-hmm.
precisely because it's such a great foundation for starting and growing companies.
Right.
So it's really good at that. It was, as I tell this 50-year story in my book, A New Universal Dream.
Mm-hmm.
It's I left Silicon Valley though because it isn't at least when I left in 2007 wasn't really the place that you were going to birth the whole conscious living movement, such as what Humanities Team has grown into. So this is why I moved my family in 2007 out to Boulder, Colorado.
Oh, interesting. Very interesting. And I've seen a lot of that. Now, just for clarification, yes, Ingenio, one of the companies that I work for, are based out of Silicon Valley. So, I just find it interesting that it's been the hub for so many developments in the spiritual community, but I often wondered if it was also in those upper echelon board meeting settings that there was a little bit of spirituality growing through it. So,
And I think probably today that's true because worldwide spirituality or conscious living is starting to, as you mentioned, grow through it. This,
right,
especially in these last years, as we know, there's a good deal of anxiety, even some depression, some disempowerment. People now increasingly going within and saying, is this all life has to offer? Is there more for me than that? And this is where conscious living and spirituality come in. And this, of course, is what the work that we do in Humanities Team with our streaming platform, where we're streaming all over the world, our conscious programming, where we come to, I shared in the 90s, I went through my own personal awakening where we have, an awakening of sorts where we come to understand, oh my God, I'm more than just my mom and dad's son. I'm actually one with all of the universe and cosmos, which is what scientists are sharing today.
right. And that's what they're getting into a lot in that cutting edge technology. So, when did you start shifting from doing to being?
I started shifting from doing to being during this personal awakening in the mid 1990s, where I could see that I was, what scientists say today, a reference to Nassim Harriman, his Resonance Science Foundation. Right now it's based out of Southern California. So, and he's got his unified field theory, which is what Einstein was working with right at the time of his passing, never quite got there. Einstein and others are there now, where they look at everything from protons, quantum scale, to cosmological objects, galaxies, everything physical and non-physical in between. Right. And they're saying, everything actually is sovereign, they'll use that term, to this one body, which we'll call universe or cosmos. And then they'll say, so that means that you're inseparable from the universe. So you should be walking tall with good posture, with strong, empowered, because the universe can't be without you. This is a scientist talking, not a spiritual leader like a Michael Beckwith. So this was back in the mid 90s, Neil Donald Walsh and Deepak Chopra, Wayne Dyer, and these, where I got in touch with this whole oneness thing, or this deeply unified reality. And when we get in touch with that and understand that we're actually a part of the cosmos, a part of the universe, that we have then the same properties, the Rumi quote, that we're not just a drop in the ocean, we're the whole ocean in a drop, right? The famous Rumi quote, which means that we have everlasting life and we have unlimited potential and all of these things. And then as we feel into that, this is kind of a long answer to your question, but
no, it's perfect.
Feel into that, this is where this whole being thing comes in, where we're not just in this whole logic center of the mind thing with task lists. So I'm going to do this, then I'm going to do that and do this. We start coming down into more the wisdom center of our soul, I'll call it, where we're listening to that still small voice. And that's where then we enter this whole being state thing that's informing our doing, and it's in fact informing our whole life.
Right. Now, what was the shift for you? What was the aha, like, okay, whatever I'm doing is not what I need to be doing. I need to make these shifts.
Yeah, I read the co-founder of Humanities Team with me. We're 20 years old, actually, this month. So June 2003 is in Wilsonville, Oregon. We founded Humanities Team. Neil Donald Walsh, who is the author of the Conversations with God series, co-founded Humanities Team with me. And yeah, there in the mid 90s, I read his book one, Conversations with God, book one, that lays out in very simple terms, that all of life is a part of the one. The same thing that scientists are saying, right? We're all one with the divine, each other, all of life, the earth, etc. And when I got in touch with that and then decided it was true, when your belief system shifts to something like that, your whole life, you're now standing on a different foundation. It's different ground. It's different. Life really becomes quite different. So it was there in the mid 1990s that I really went through this shift, and it was what caused me to lose my passion for business and to say there's more important work that I could be doing than just being a serial entrepreneur making a bunch of money.
Hmm. And do you think that's what we've seen with, like, oh, come on, founder of Windows, he's now, stepped aside. I think we started seeing some of it with Stephen Jobs. He kind of like got a little tired and he got very philosophical in his biography. Um, my brain escapes me on the founder of Windows, but the one that's now doing all the Bill Gates. There you go. Do you think that they basically reached the same point as kind of like, what am I doing?
Steve Jobs had his moment in his biography, this trip to India and then this whole oneness farm up in Oregon. And so he definitely was somebody who deeply understood this whole conscious reality.
Mhm.
He did not, he ended up moving in this product direction with Apple Computer. Bill Gates, certainly ecology he's come around to. He's written this book now on climate change where he's advocating for all these things we can do to get neutral so we don't have CO2 emissions and we heal this whole climate change thing. I don't know where, he's, I haven't read that he's deeply spiritual. I think his wife, he's now separated from her, but I think she actually does have some real spiritual dimensions.
Oh, I think she does too. I think she's always kind of been the heart and, that type of thing. And now I think he's coming to that reckoning.
Yeah.
Talked about living consciously. Tell us about, like, I don't know, I'm a big morning routine person, an evening routine person, and, that type of productivity. What does yours look like?
So, yes, let me tell you what mine looks like, and then I can even share some steps for people that are saying, hey, how do I start if I haven't started? So for me, and now I've been in this, I mentioned 1995. So I'm, this is now a 28-year journey for me in terms of deepening my own conscious journey. So there's a lot of stuff I do. I do meditations throughout my day, morning and evening, and often more than that. Meditations can take different forms. It's mostly for me metaphysical, where this is Joe Dispenza, on TikTok, you pick up his whole, he calls it creating in the quantum field. It's actually, this is the metaphysical, which goes back 2,000 years, where it was said, and it's done unto you as you believe. We've probably heard that quote.
Right. If not a little further with emerald tablets.
Yeah. And then, of course, Esther Hicks, with the book Abraham, so this is really a big thing right now, is kind of siloed into this whole notion of, it's more of a Christmas-like thing of feel into it and desire it and draw it to you in the vacation and the home and so on, which does work, but we can also use it. I use it for this work that we do in Humanities Team, which is all about creating this flourishing and sustainable world, not only for our generation, but future generations, where you're really feeling into an awakening for all of humanity, where we're coming to know ourselves, like what the scientists say, that we're deeply interconnected and interdependent with the world around us. And then we're taking responsibility more, we're taking positive action more. So where I'm seeing those kinds of things for the world and for my family, I've got 2 young adults, an 18-year-old, a 21-year-old. I'm happily married. So I'm doing a lot of metaphysical like that, where I'm seeing and feeling, tasting and touching. Actually, we're creators, right? Is what both spiritual and science is saying. So where I'm with our team, creating those kinds of things, going into the future. I play spiritual music. I eat thoughtfully, more for nutrition than just for taste. So there's a lot of things here. What if I was going to go talking to this audience? Some of the things that we can do as we're getting started are just breathing. Where we're just noticing breathing, and we're not doing it to kind of get past it, but we're doing it to really breathe into it, inhale and exhale, and really be present then as we're breathing. And then as we're present, to notice this whole, especially it's nice if we can do this with nature. We're in the spring here in North America. Right. So if there's nature outside of my window and you're breathing, you're present, that's starting to bring you now into this being state thing of instead of just, I'm going to go do this task and then that task and that task, which was my life, most of our lives
Right.
growing up. It's what we were taught in school, right? That we start leaving that for just really feeling into and being really present and being connected to the world around us, to nature, to the night sky,
Mm-hmm.
to the cosmos, to the universe.
Right.
And then in this oneness thing, we can actually call in with meditation and with prayer, where we ask for guidance and say, I want to be guided, guide me. So we have actually angels and guides around us. There's the one, which we call the divine and humanities team, but
Right.
it's just like to call the one universe. That works fine. These are interchangeable words actually, but where we ask to be guided, and we will be guided. We can ask for support. We will get support. So, and once we lay down these tracks of really being, coming into being states, really eating well, sleeping well, more going to that still small voice, living from there instead of just the worldly noise where our parents say do this and our coworkers say do that, where we're more tuning out the worldly noise, paying attention to our still small voice and getting guidance and so on. Now we're on this beautiful conscious journey where it's like drift diving. If anybody here, has scuba dived or snorkeled, where you just put your hands out and you're just in flow, right? It's just an easy thing. And it's not that your problems go away. I still have problems like everybody else, but I'm dealing with those problems from a very different place than those years before, where I'm just in the middle, roller coaster up, good day, bad day, up, down. I don't experience that now.
Oh, interesting. So what's your wife think about this?
My wife loves it.
Okay. Because I was thinking it's almost like a total reverse flip from, super CEO, building businesses, building things, staying on the go, in meetings, all this to, I don't start till 2. I've got morning meditation, and then I'm going to go do some hiking or yoga. Why don't we have some live, honey, you don't really need to cook me breakfast. I'm going to go over and have, I don't know, some yoga and fresh fruit. Was she like, what are you up to?
Yeah. So let me go back to when I first made this decision in the 90s that I was going to leave this 7-figure lifestyle every year. Thank God that I married the woman that I did, because almost, there just aren't many marriages that'll make it through that.
Right.
And I did marry the right person. And she said, Steve, let's go, and we did. We journeyed together and adopted 2 beautiful kids and all the way to today. But there was challenge, it's when you leave all of that, those business associations, sell the businesses. I told her, in fact, then I said, Stephanie, I may not ever draw a paycheck again. And in fact, I haven't drawn a paycheck since 1999.
Right.
Now that means, of course, I created abundance back then from being a business person that allowed me to do that. So now we fast forward to today, where again, there's a big wave coming in. We were sharing, there are a lot of people now that even 5 years ago weren't thinking in terms of the spiritual self, weren't thinking in terms of, is there more to life? Weren't thinking in terms of, is there deeper meaning and purpose? So these are all things that have really sprung to life more in the last 5 years. And now there's tremendous interest in it. It's why our conscious streaming platform is going like crazy. So these practices now, my wife and I, she of course has her own way of doing things, her own yoga, her own diet. You're always going to have 2 people that are kind of adopting these measures in different ways, but she's all on board too, and sees this same future that I see.
So, you're very experienced in business running. Do you think there's a way to consciously run a business with the, because we see companies that are a little looser than, the 90s, but, the lower employees cannot just walk up to the CEO and go, I think we got to paint the main entryway, to be a little bit more calmer. So do you think there's the opportunity for conscious leadership, and what does that look like comparative to traditional corporate behavior? Yes.
So a couple things here. One, just my book. So A New Universal Dream. I'm actually giving away my masterclass. It's a $299 masterclass. It's called Conscious Leadership. Humanities team, this 501c3 nonprofit that I work for, we're giving away the masterclass when people buy the $18.99 book. If you go to Amazon or wherever you buy it. But if you go to anewuniversaldream.com, you can read a little about the book. The first 4 chapters are unlocked, so you can read it for free. And then if you end up buying the book, you just enter the receipt number there and your email address, and then we unlock the whole masterclass. It is a true $300 masterclass that we're giving away on conscious leadership. So I'm mentioning that right up front because that's going to go a lot deeper than the things we can get into here right this moment. But I'm also on a podcast just on conscious business because the way that I was able to retire when I was quite young was this, especially my first business. We didn't call it conscious business there in the 1990s, but it was. We practiced something called open book management, where we revealed all of our finances and bank account information, everything to our team. We adopted a local high school that didn't have any money. We were doing a lot of things right that attracted the best and brightest to us and caused them to stay, and not leave. And that is how we grew just Inc. 500 twice, almost 3 times. We grew over to Europe. We were starting up in Japan in the second company. So how we grew so fast is through these conscious business practices. So, but here's the thing is people, when they first hear about conscious business, they'll say, yeah, but could that work? And do we really think the world could go there? And my answer to that is, boy, if you want to see just meteoric success, turn it into a conscious business, because conscious business just means it's open, it's truthful, it's loving, so you're treating even vendors well, and vendors are always treated terribly, but you're even treating vendors well, and watch your business just take off when you go in this conscious direction.
And did you notice that your vendors had a more vested interest in the company's success because there's that level of honesty there?
Absolutely. Our big partner in vendor was Cisco Systems. If you've heard of them, they're out in Silicon Valley. And they made us their partner of the year for North America, brought us in on stage, thousands and thousands of people to give us their big partner of the year award because we were so genuine, thoughtful. They give you products for display that they ask you not to sell. Almost everybody did. We never sold those. We were always good to our word about everything. It's what when you're conscious, that's what you do.
Right. And you, not only that, but you have some real, I don't know. For me, I think vendors sometimes, for vendors, you've got to have hard conversations. Like, this is what we need from you. This is when we need it from you. And we need it for X amount of dollars. And vendors go, yeah, we need, but if you're dealing with them honestly and saying, look, we know that these products have bugs in them. These are the bugs we need fixed. You'll have a more genuine business relationship there.
Yeah, for sure. And this is also, I would say that real conscious business isn't afraid to tell the truth. Yeah. This is kind of the new age thing of, we can't, just like you say, let's just kind of not be truthful and just sort of talk, about things in a pleasant way. That there's no favors being done when we do. So we were extremely honest about everything, including things that might be a little challenging to talk about. This customer situation, this level of support that we need. We weren't afraid to just be straight up about things that we needed to be straight up about.
Right, and very direct with it. I think that would be a definite improvement for conscious.
Yeah.
What changes have you seen occurred? Because, you're 23 years out of the rat race, we'll call it. What changes have you seen? Are we headed towards consciousness? Are we getting more there?
Absolutely. In fact, people have labeled this the age of consciousness. We used to call it the information age, right back there in the 80s and 90s and stuff. Now, I've heard several people say this is the age of consciousness. And I think it is the age of consciousness because this is the big thing. Right now, these things like creating in the quantum field, they're siloed where it's just considered as its standalone thing.
Sure.
But there's also psychics that are, we deal in the humanities team, we work with the near-death experience community. Right now, we've got a brand new program with Evan Alexander. He's the neurosurgeon that wrote the book Proof of Heaven. So, and he tells a story of, which he's put through peer review, of how when our body's consciousness goes down, you know, the one consciousness of which we are a part is fully present. You know, it's a beautiful world there. So we also work with mediums, you know, that Suzanne Giesman, who used to fly in Air Force One with the president, she was the chief of staff to the, or the assistant to the chief of staff for Air Force, Army, Navy. She's now a medium. And so I mentioned their backgrounds because these are people that are not woo-woo at all. You're looking at people that know how to be very left brain,
right,
and speak, you know, honestly to people. And so the afterlife is something that really comes straight into focus, where we understand there is really no such thing as death.
Right.
We during our Memorial Day communication that we sent out, we said, yeah, we honor those that died in these wars, but they are not gone. You know, I mean. That may sound funny to people here. In fact, I was reading in today's on Google that Governor Schwarzenegger, California, was saying there's no such thing as heaven. You know, it's just you're 6 feet under the ground. This fluffy nature of heaven thing just isn't real. I can tell you from all the mediums that I work with and the near-death experience people that I work with, absolutely, positively, there is no death. You know, but it's consciousness. It's
right.
You know, that we're actually, and our brain, you know, our bodies are just the receivers to this higher consciousness. So this whole conscious living thing, this whole spiritual thing, as it unfolds in these weeks and months and years ahead, people are going to really come into the fuller understanding that, oh my God, you know, I'm one of the 8 billion faces here on the planet of consciousness itself.
Right. And with that, you know, I do want to kind of dance a little bit on this. Where do you think that we'll ever be able, meaning non-psychic, non-medium, non-prognosis, normal humans, be able to access consciousness at a higher rate, even with like the, you know, we are seeing with the Apple, I don't know, their new thing here that was the goggle thing, and you know, we're getting more AI tech. Where is that leading into this consciousness?
So when we talk about consciousness, let me talk about it on two levels. There's the universal consciousness that animates all of life. People probably have heard that term, the universal consciousness that animates all of life. And that universal consciousness is in perfect bliss and peace and harmony. And again, it's the scientists now are sharing this. You know, again, go to Resonance Science Foundation or go to Greg Braden, who's also a scientist. He's and listen to his work, Bruce Lipton. There are many scientists now that are in this work. And what they share is the universe is actually in perfect harmony and cooperation. It's not this, we were all taught in grade school, oh, you know, that we've got this reptilian brain, you know, we're actually born to be in competition. Scientists now are saying it just isn't true. We are not that. We're born actually to be in harmony and cooperation, etc. So there's a universal consciousness that is in that always. Now, when we talk about those of us here on Earth, what we often hear is that what Einstein said, that we have to raise consciousness here on the Earth, right? This was, you know, his famous quote that problems can't be solved at the same level of consciousness that they're created. We have to go up. He says we've got to elevate our consciousness. So that's because we're energetic beings, and as energetic beings, many of us are vibrating down here, much lower, where we're in the logic center of our mind. It's a good day, it's a bad day. You know, the moon is in retrograde, this kind of stuff. When we train ourselves through these spiritual practices, conscious practices that I talked about, we actually raise our vibration, raise it. We can't get sick as it gets higher. And then healers, the alchemists, keep going higher and higher and higher. And as you go up into those higher frequencies, then you become a healer, John of God. People have probably, you know, where there's just unbelievable miracle healing happening. Okay, we're now up at these very high vibration states where 2,000 years ago, where these things had happened, guess who was at that? We're very high vibration states
Right.
where we can where this kind of miracle power is going on.
Right.
So consciousness here, when in the context of us here on the earth, we want to think about it in terms of how do I raise my own consciousness, and so that I feel good, I'm in flow. I don't get sick very often. And then some people are called to just keep going, and they become powerful healers and alchemists.
Mm-hmm. And tell us a little more about the streaming service. You said that you've got mediums on there, you've got other precognitions on there, you've got healers on there. What's the programming like? Like, is it podcasts? Is it video training courses? What's with that?
Yeah, so it's so this is Humanities Team, and if you go to humanitiesteam.org, it's with a Y, humanitiesteam.org. We're a 501c3 nonprofit, and so what we were called to with this whole our vision as a nonprofit, which means we don't have shareholders, which means it's not about top line growth, it's not about bottom line growth. It's about supporting people, your viewers, your listeners here that are on the conscious journey. That's our mission. So. And in fact, what we share, the particular download we got, Neil Donald Walsh, Conversations with God Foundation, Humanities Team, a year ago, we started an initiative called Changing Humanity's Future. And that initiative is about making conscious living pervasive worldwide by 2040. That's in only 17 years. So people will say, well, that's a big lift. How do you plan to make conscious living pervasive worldwide in 17 years? What is your strategy? Well, this is the strategy. Create a streaming platform where you've got the scientists, Nassim Harriman, Greg Braden, Bruce Lipton, Lynn McTaggart, heart math leaders. You've got Neil Donald Walsh, Michael Bernard Beckwith, just the mediums. So Suzanne Giesman, who I mentioned, Eben Alexander, incredible, with the Wayne Dyer's family, his two daughters, Serena and Sage Dyer, who share about how their dad is still working in today's world. That's a story unto itself. So we have hundreds of these master classes on the streaming platform. It's called Humanity Stream Plus, and if you go to humanitiesteam.org, you'll be able to read about it. Right. And as a nonprofit, we just keep bringing the price down and the monthly price down, and then we give it away. People can't afford it. We have a 1-for-1 program like Tom's Shoes. So every time somebody buys a paid subscription, which is $400, $399 a year, or $39.99 a month, we give away a subscription to people mostly outside of the U.S. where even though that's economical for us here in the U.S., you go outside of this country, that's $400 a year isn't economical, and a lot of
$400 a year is, if we look at like Mexico, that's a yearly salary. That can be a lot. And with this, the 1-for-1, you've also got, like forbidden scientists, technologies, consciousness and evolution, life after death, cosmic forces, the science of self-empowerment, which is a great class. I took that one when it was offered earlier. The soul circle, healing the past, that's working through your past traumas. A lot of these are really big name offers. Sacred numerology, great class if you're into numerology. That's way past the level that I teach numerology at, guys, but that's a great one. And then, you've got business classes like Publicity Crash Course and Creating Money, and of course, Conscious Living, and, the Courage to Change Everything. 5E Financial Freedom Formula. So this is not just what I classify as woo-woo science and woo-woo classes. This is also practical classes to put into creation. Notice I didn't say put into work. It's creation, because you start creating your own cosmos and creating where you're wanting things to go to.
Yeah, exactly. This is all grounded stuff. My background's grounded. I mentioned the faculty. These are icons, many of them in the industry. And they are attracted to us because we're a nonprofit, and we've got a more, I'll call it noble objective of, hey, let's just support people on the conscious journey. The thing about this is microcosm, macrocosm, right? So as enough of us start becoming conscious and really being more responsible, taking positive action out in the world, being sensitive to things like global warming and wars and things, macrocosm starts getting affected. The tipping point enters in, the whole Malcolm Gladwell thing, right?
Right.
We start creating a whole world that's different, that's healthier. There's well-being, there's joy, there's laughter, there's being state that we were talking about. We all start living more that way. So, and that's what humanity's team is about, is let's support people individually on this conscious journey, and with the notion that collectively, the whole of the planet can get there too, and so that our kids, and future generations can enjoy the planet that we've all enjoyed growing up on.
Or a better one. And you've also got it on all devices. It's in Amazon, so you can use it on your Fire. It's on Android, so it's on Google Play, so it can go on your Android. Of course, you got your iPhone and your Roku all set up there that can stream. And the way it looks at the content, it'll take you a couple years to get through the content alone if that just becomes your number one streaming thing.
Right. It's a true streaming platform. In the transformational education industry, it's actually the only true streaming platform that, like you mentioned, it's on all of those platforms. My wife and I like to watch on TV, so we use Roku, but you could use Google Play. There's Apple TV, any way to bring it into your home. And then as far as content, last year alone, we brought 55 new programs to platform. We're on track to do 55 this year. Then we have live programs all week long. On Wednesday, there are 3 live programs. Most days of the week, there's a live program for these stream members. So we actually call it a community, a conscious community, even before we call it a video training platform.
Right.
Because ultimately, that's what it's about, is in today's world, people that are listening in, this is their thing, but they may, in their home, they probably have family members that aren't conscious, neighbors that aren't, coworkers that aren't. So it's a place where you can gather with others that are really get it, are living healthy lives.
Have fun. That connection. And what I like is your platform, the streaming platform, is a balance. And I think that's really important, especially in my industry, in the psychic industry. No one teaches a psychic business class. I'm working on developing one, but no one teaches you the business of being a psychic. No one teaches you how to stay in that alpha brain while remembering, to pay the electric bill type behavior. So you coming into this, and you've got your business classes there, you've got your leadership classes there, but you also have the higher level consciousness and the connective consciousness. That's a very good full-rounded circle of education there.
Yeah, and embodied practices. So the yoga, the all kinds of embodied practices where this whole being state thing is really given expression, because we're really living into it fully. Right. So yes, that's the whole objective, is to really fill out that whole world of things that we can do and be consciously, so we can live just a really, really high quality life. And I'll just say, because we talked about Silicon Valley earlier, in Silicon Valley, I thought that I was going to find that true prosperity, right? That you climb the ladder of success, and I was going to find true prosperity. Honestly, I didn't find it there. Where I found it is right here. The things we're talking about now, the home that I have today, wow. I mean, this is where life gets really delicious. And I know your listeners and viewers that are on this journey understand that it's where life, it's what life was supposed to be about in the first place.
Well, Steve, I have to take a break, and we'll come back. We'll talk about what you're headed into next, shall we?
Okay, let's do it.
Awesome.
Hey everybody, Lady Gwendolyn here from Rowan Temple of Light, and I'm here to tell you about our events this summer. First up is Beltane in the Hills, May 13th, and that is from 1 to 6. We have entertainment, we have a bunch of vendors, we have a fairy photo shoot. It's going to be exciting. You having any questions, reach out to Earth Magic or to myself. After that, we have Central West Virginia Pagan Pride, August 19th. That's at Holly Gray Park from 11 to 5 for the day. And we will have Sarah Masters coming down from Pittsburgh to be our keynote speaker. We have some great classes for that. So if you want to get involved, reach out to Rowan Temple of Light at Gmail, or just follow us along on Facebook at Rowan Temple of Light, and we look forward to seeing you out in the community. See you there.
Welcome back, Goblins! My name is Jason, and I am the host of the Esoteric Book Club, a podcast that examines titles on the magical, paranormal, the mysterious, and the strange. I release 2 episodes a month in which I review books on esoteric topics, recap news of the weird, and conduct interviews with authors, practitioners, and experiencers. The Esoteric Book Club can be found on every major podcast service or can be streamed directly from esotericbookclub.org.
Hi, I'm Aeson Knight. I provide tarot readings covering everything from love and relationships to your life questions and your most spiritual answers. And also, I provide a lot of guidance in finances and divorces and all those relationship problems. So, if you'd like to get a reading from me privately, not on air, you can feel free to do so by visiting aesonknight.com and booking your appointment. I also provide on-demand services, so if your life is a little chaotic, you can go ahead and click that Call Now button there on my site. It'll connect you to Keen, and if you've not been with Keen before, you'll get 3 free minutes to talk with me, so that's great for a quick answer question. All right, guys, back to the show. Enjoy. Bye, y'all.
Hi, I'm Tracy Van. I provide a blended reading consisting of mediumship, psychic, and tarot cards. A reading from me can cover any guidance you need from relationships with your partner or your family, spiritual, financial, any questions you may need clarity on. If you would like to book an appointment with me, check out my website, tracyvann.com. That's TRACYVANN.com. I have bookings from 15 to 60 minutes you may choose from. That helps if you just have a quick question, need an answer, or if you're looking for a reading in more depth, I'm here to provide the guidance and clarity for you. Let's just figure it out. Bye.
All right, welcome back. So, Steve, what's your next project? What's you got on that compound board?
So the project that we just launched just in the last few days, it's called Unlocking the Intelligence of the Afterlife. So this is the program with this neurosurgeon, Eben Alexander III. He wrote this bestseller called Proof of Heaven. People may have heard of this book. And then his partner, Karen Newell, who's also a scientist, and then Suzanne Giesman, who's one of the most esteemed people in the area of mediumship. So, in fact, she's in the Watkins 100 list of most biggest spiritual leaders in the world. So the 3 of them worked with Humanities Team to launch this program, Unlocking the Intelligence of the Afterlife. So if you go to our Humanities Team website with a Y, humanitiesteam.org, you'll see a free program. It's an hour long, and you can register and participate in that program. And I encourage everybody to do that. Just go through the free program, because I promise you, unless you're really well down this path and know the whole NDE thing well and mediumship well, you're going to probably be surprised at some of the research that they bring in during this program. So that's one of the big things that we're working on. That's going to this Humanity Stream Plus platform, this conscious streaming platform that we've been talking about. So that's one thing that's right here, right now, that's new. Another thing is, I mentioned with Neil Donald Walsh, the author of the Conversations with God book series, his foundation is called Conversations with God Foundation, Humanities Team, and then partners all over the world that are faculty on the streaming platform joined with us to create this initiative called Changing Humanity's Future. And if you go to changinghumanitiesfuture.org, you can read all about this initiative. It's in the next 17 years to make conscious living pervasive worldwide. And it's got all kinds of free resources on the page. There's one of the resources, you'll see a button on the page that says Confirmations of a Conscious Reality. So I've been sharing here during this discussion of a few of the scientists that are talking about this whole unitive narrative or oneness or unity consciousness, but you'll read all of them back to Plato and 450 BCE, Hippocrates, right in that same time frame, all the way forward. You'll read what scientists and contemporary figures back to the antiquity of time have shared, is true about this whole conscious reality. You'll also read action steps of, we were talking earlier here about things we can do to live more consciously. There's a whole lot more there on the action step page of things that you can do to really live consciously and into its fullness in your home, at work, out in the world. And there's even, a lot more than that. So invite people to read about it, check it out. We think there's nothing more important that we could be doing on the planet right now, where this term, existential crisis is starting to surface more and more. And that gives us some pause, and say, wow, I worry about the future generations that are coming to this planet. This initiative is all about making sure that that terminology will go away. There won't be an existential crisis, because as conscious people, we're going to steward this earth well, and each other, take care of humankind here.
Wonderful. Very cool. Well, thank you for coming and having coffee with me. And you come back when you get your next book out, because we know that more is coming out of this. Guys, go check out the Humanities Team website. Check out anewuniversaldream.com. Get the book. Go through the leadership master classes. Because I'm sorry, I don't care where you're at within the business world, it's very good and very highly important. The other part of that is also look into some more conscious living. Go ahead and check out the humanitiesstream.org. It has a lot of good classes, and for $39 a month, I'll be bitchy about it. One class by, Suzanne Glesman is going to be more than $39, and she's got, 5 up?
She's got a bunch of them, and she's in this new one.
Yeah.
Suzanne Giesman, boy, go to YouTube and watch how she is just soaring to new heights. Hundreds of thousands of people watch those little clips, and then we've got her full-on master classes on the platform.
Right. And then, you got Mike Newman, which is another well-known author, teacher, and poet. So you've got a lot of spirituality there. You also have the business mind of things. They've got good feedback. And it looks to me like they're covering probably all the bases, even to you guys hear me talk about science and metaphysics and that type of thing. Yeah, there's science now catching up to it. So go check that out. And we'll see you later, Steve, okay?
Hey, thank you so much for having me on the show here, Aeson. Real pleasure to be with you and your viewers.
Look forward to having you again, darling.
Okay, back at you, friend. Godspeed, everybody. Namaste.
Okay. Namaste.
Hi, this is Sandy Starr. I'm a psychic and I work on Keen, and I have been working on Keen for over 22 years. You can reach me on 01068. I deal with a myriad of subjects, but I do specialize in relationships, marriages, divorces, is he cheating, is she cheating, whatever the dynamic of the relationship is, I will guide you through. I've got amazing radar for cheaters, so I will tell you the truth if he or she is cheating. I can help with any subject you need me to help you with besides relationships, and I look forward to hearing from you. Again, you can reach me through Keen. My extension number is 01068. I really look forward to hearing from you and helping you with whatever you need me to help you with.
Hi, I'm Tracy Van. I'm a psychic medium and I work with tarot cards. I also practice Reiki and access bars. I would like to share with you what a reading with me is like. It is a blended reading of psychic and mediumship, and I deliver these messages exactly as they come through. I'm not going to mince words or add any padding. I am a professional, reliable, and honest communicator. I have readings available anywhere from 15 minutes to an hour. You can book a reading with me at tracyvann.com. That's TracyVann.com. And no, I'll always tell you exactly what you need to hear.
Hey everybody, Natalie here from The Pendulum's Path. If you are in need of guidance, direction, spiritual connection, healing, or more, you have come to the right place. I have worked as a psychic and a medium for over 3 years, connecting people from all over the world with their loved ones, giving them insight and guidance into their current situations, their past healings, their blockages, and what they need to know in order for them to have a better future. It would be my absolute honor if you would come to my website at www.thependulumspath.com, visit my shop. I have a whole bunch of crystals, oils, balms, mystery boxes, and more. And visit my services. I offer 15-minute, 30-minute, and 60-minute sessions. I also have email readings available if you're not comfortable with the one-on-one session with me, or if you just want to try me out. I encourage you to come visit me at the Pendulum's Path, and let's get you back on the right track today.
Hey everybody, Lady Gwendolyn here from Rowan Temple of Light, and I'm here to tell you about our events this summer. First up is Beltane in the Hills, May 13th, and that is from 1 to 6. We have entertainment, we have a bunch of vendors, we have a fairy photo shoot. It's going to be exciting. You having any questions, reach out to Earth Magic or to myself. After that, we have Central West Virginia Pagan Pride, August 19th. That's at Holly Gray Park from 11 to 5 for the day. And we will have Sarah Masters coming down from Pittsburgh to be our keynote speaker. We have some great classes for that. So if you want to get involved, reach out to RowanTempleOfLight@gmail.com, or just follow us along on Facebook at Rowan Temple of Light, and we look forward to seeing you out in the community. See you there.
All right. Welcome, Joe. How are you?
Doing well. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. Had a very interesting conversation. The service looks highly interesting, and the book was delicious. So I'm going to have to delve into that a little bit more. Because there's a lot of good authors here, and if anything, it saves me on Audible.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah. All right. So hello, Brenda. Hello, Shannon. How are you? Ooh,
Hey,
what
guys.
recipe we hunting?
Ooh, we're hunting recipes? What?
Yeah, Brenda was late because she was hunting a recipe. I was wondering which one she was hunting up.
I know, right? If you're late for it, you have to share it.
It better be good too, like beet eggs, or hot mustard. That Joe was a little shocked. So tell the story of you cooking dinner last night.
Yeah. So last night was kind of a simple dinner. It was hamburgers and a salad that we already had pre-made. And so anyway, I'm trying to put these burgers together, and he's pretty consistent on what he wants on his burger. And he'd made this joke about the hot pepper mustard that or I thought it was a joke. Should have thought it was a joke, that it was going to replace mayonnaise for it.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, I'm going to fix his hamburger, and I'm like, do you want hot pepper mustard on it? And he's like, yeah. So I put that on there, and then I go to find the mayonnaise in the fridge, and there is none. And so all I could do at that point is just turn to him and be like, you have created an international incident in this home. And he's like, what did I do now? And I'm like, you are out of Duke's mayonnaise. It is an international incident, if I remember correctly.
Uh-huh.
And you're like, yeah, it's because I switched to the hot pepper mustard.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, oh. So you want it on both halves of your burger? Because I only planned for it to be on one half.
Uh-huh. No, put it on both. It was delicious. I'm thinking, I found, of course I watch cooking shows from the 1880s. They recreate, because it's interesting to see what people in the 1800s ate, comparative to the garbage that, most Americans eat nowadays.
Oh, well, there.
And they had a salad dressing on there that was mustard based.
Uh-huh.
I'm thinking about trying it with the hot pepper mustard.
I don't know how well will that work with the dog.
Well, I think the dog will have to live with it.
Oh, okay. I mean, because the dog does not eat mustard.
Yeah.
I mean, we haven't tried him on the hot pepper mustard, but something tells me that giving the puppy the hot pepper mustard is a bad, bad, bad idea.
Well, it is not a bad idea, and we will see if he wants to eat it, if there's ever anything to actually share back with them.
Well, there you go. I mean, we could put some on the keto bread.
Mm-hmm.
See if he likes keto bread, too.
Yeah, the Carb Master keto bread is actually good. Joe is eating it.
Yeah, well, it wasn't that different.
Right. It was like a nice ride. Very delicious. I don't know how it's going to do on the peanut butter sandwich. I'll probably attempt that later tonight. Advice, though, if you're using the keto bread or any bread that is keto, put it in the freezer. Pull it out as you need it.
Yeah, that way you don't have that rush, and then, for God's sakes, it's $7 a loaf.
Well, yes. But also, I'm not sure of the preservatives in it. And if it's like any other fresh breads, it's preservatives.
Well, or it's preservative free and it goes bad.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, bread was never meant to last on a shelf for a month.
Mm-hmm.
Just, let's all get clear on that.
Yes.
Like, that's some unnatural crap.
Right.
Alrighty. So, yeah. Oh, so a beer recipe for the Instapot that I thought I had saved. Ooh. Oh, the hot pepper mustard. You want to share some of that?
I'll share the recipe.
Yes.
Yes, it's on the coffee table.
Yep, it is. It is.
It is.
So try not to laugh too hard when you read the recipe title.
Yeah. Very much so. But it's delicious. You know, it's one of the best things my sister-in-law has gotten me. It was topped by the Book of Shadows that she designed for me.
Oh, no, the dressing is what Brenda wants.
Oh, the dressing. Yes, I will definitely share that video directly to Patreon if I can find it in YouTube.
Hey, there you go.
Like, I have no problem sharing some of the things that I get up to in the mornings.
Fair enough.
Yes.
Fair enough. Oh, goodness.
All right. So how's your day been? We've not seen each other much today.
Yeah, basically. No, that pretty much sums up how my day's gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been one of those everyone wants something.
Yep.
And so, like, I get like one person okay, and then the next person, and I get them okay, and the next person, and the next, and the next, and the next, and then yeah. I'm just like, okay, everyone can calm down now. But it'll be fine.
Right, so that is in the Patreon. If you want to see the salad dressing and the salad, Aeson will probably try sometime next week because it looks lovely and delicious. All right, let me get the poll ready while I'm over here.
All righty.
That delay. There we go. Right. Yes, I am me. I'm on the wrong network. Gotta love simulcast.
I know, right?
Yeah. So anyhow, you
Also
want
pop
to go
up
ahead?
that
Yes.
buy your host coffee. Like,
Well, yes, that would be nice if someone chooses to buy us coffee.
yes, we love coffee. More coffee, please.
All right. So now that I'm on the right station, let's get the poll up on if you are an asshole.
Okay. Ready to take it?
Yes.
All right. Am I the asshole for defending my brother, who my dad accused of faking being sick by bringing up the time when I could have died? Backstory. Now, I'm going to preface the story with I'm thinking that the OP wrote this from the perspective of the past, and I think they are now older.
Okay.
So keep that in mind, because otherwise it gets really confusing.
Right.
I, 16 female, got strep throat from my little brother, 7 male, who brought it home from school. He coughed without covering his mouth and coughed all over. My sister, 14 female, and I told him to cover his mouth, but he never did, and my parents told us to stop harassing him. I was the main caretaker for both my siblings, with my parents just kind of going to work and coming home. I have very sensitive tonsils, so anytime I get any sort of throat infection, they get inflamed, and I get tonsillitis secondary to whatever throat infection I have at the time. I was trying to take care of my siblings while still sick. My tonsils were the size of ping pong balls, touching in the back of my throat and oozing pus. I couldn't swallow, I was having some mild difficulty breathing, my fever was 104, and I sweat through my clothes while still freezing. I was like that for 4 days on the couch, begging my parents to take me to at least urgent care. We lived right down the road and had excellent health insurance that they accepted. They refused and even accused me of faking. 4 days later, I managed to get my tonsillitis under control enough to be able to breathe comfortably and swallow, though it was excruciating. So to get up and take care of my siblings, do some chores that began piling up. I'd lost 5 pounds in 4 days from the toll the fever took on my body, and I was still weak, but at least I wouldn't get in trouble for letting dishes set in the sink. 2 weeks after the first onset of symptoms, I was better. A month ago, our dad called me and my brother, explaining his symptoms to me. I'm a nurse, saying he was trying to fake being sick. I said it sounds like the start of the flu, and he even looked flushed, feverish. He got mad at me and accused my brother of lying again. I told him he needs to believe him and brought up the story I wrote out above. Instant karma must have been on my brother's side that day, because I heard him projectile vomit on our dad. I said, he seems pretty sick to me. Told my brother I love him and to feel better soon, and hung up. Our dad texted me later saying I shouldn't have brought it up in front of my brother because it would undermine his authority to send him to school if he wasn't really sick. I told him that clearly my brother is sick, and my story now proves he hasn't learned from his mistake. He's still mad at me and keeps making passive-aggressive posts on Facebook about disrespectful, disobedient kids. It's been a month, and now our family is in on it, telling me that I should respect and obey my parents, and now he has no authority with my brother because of me. I just ignore them right now, but I'm really starting to wonder if I'm in the wrong. So, am I the asshole for defending my brother, who my dad accused of faking being sick, by bringing up the time when I could have died?
No. I have
I'm
a question.
Where the hell are you, and why haven't you called Child Protective Services on this man?
Why isn't the brother not only was the caretaker of the brother and sister, but why is that child not living with you?
Well, OP, female, yeah, I would have hoped you would have gone for trying to get, care of your siblings on this
Right.
one. Though that's not always possible for everyone.
Right.
But this seems like one of those situations. I think you just start with a phone call to Child Protective Services.
Yes.
And work it out from there.
Right. It's already been reported. They didn't do much, unfortunately.
Oh, seriously? Good God.
Yeah.
This is a nightmare. This is a nightmare. So, don't get me wrong. I know kids fake being sick. I know kids are and there's reasons for that. And I know it's really hard on parents to sit there and try to play nurse to figure out, are you really sick, or do you have have something going on that makes you sick, in air quotes. And what do we do? How do we take care of that?
Right.
So I kind of get that, and on one front. On another front, though, I'm just going, this is pretty obvious these kids are sick.
Right.
Like, how do you fake that?
Right.
Like, even if she is faking, something really bad is going on.
Right.
So either which way, take the kid to the doctor.
Right.
Same for the brother that is, on the video chat. I mean,
Yeah.
if he has gone through the process of trying to fake being that sick,
Right.
again, something very serious is going on. This isn't
Right.
a case of you don't have insurance or finances. It sounds like both of these are hardworking people. I don't know if it's that you don't want to call out of work to take care of your children.
Right.
But yeah, this is what you signed up for when you had the sexy time without the preventatives.
Right.
You signed up for this. You have to take that kid to the doctor now. Don't care if they're sick or not.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty sure this one's sick.
Yes.
You know.
Right.
That's the deal. This is medical neglect of a child. Like,
Right.
plain and simple, you have to take this child to the doctor.
Right.
Unless you have some religious belief
Mm-hmm.
that somehow decides that you just don't take children to the hospital for
Right.
anything. I mean, that's the only way I can think of,
Right.
that begins to justify it. And even then, it's like, this is a nightmare.
Right.
Like, those are sick kids that are gonna, like, I hope they make it to 18.
Right.
Like, what else can you say here is, I hope they make it to 18 and get the hell out.
Right.
I hope they apply for emancipation and get out. I
Right.
hope someone somewhere gets them out or gets through to these parents. You really can't do this.
Exactly. And, hopefully they will age out soon, maybe be 18 and away from parents, and move forward.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to go with not the asshole. I trying to separate the severity of the situation from what she did. I still have to say, he didn't learn from the past. You just smacked him between the eyes with it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he brought that on himself.
Right.
At this point.
Right.
I have to go with not the asshole.
Yeah.
Like, ordinarily, like, I might have a moment there of, do you really want to do that in front of your brother and create, like, this disrespectful situation?
Right.
You basically said the only liar here is your father.
Right.
Who doesn't know shit.
Exactly.
Because that's what the story communicates. It's
Yeah.
your father's an idiot who doesn't understand shit.
Right.
And it's kind of hard to be respectful of a parent that is obviously neglecting you. And, oh, here's my story of when it happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
Argumentatively.
Right.
Still though, he doubles down and goes on Facebook to post about disrespectful and disobedient kids.
Right.
Dude. Oh, no.
Right.
Total asshole.
Right.
Or, sorry, your father is a total asshole, not the asshole for what you did.
Right.
Not the asshole. All right, so we're getting some comments.
Okay.
Shannon starts out with, look, I swear I did not write this one. But goes on to say, I caught strep so bad as a kid that when I was nearly an adult, I still had traces of it in my system. And the doctor ripped my mother a new one when I said, yeah, when I was about 7, I had a bad sore throat. My mom told me to just tough it out and strep being and stop being a baby. I couldn't eat for 2 weeks and could barely swallow liquids. My mom called me a liar and he lit her up. I have to be careful about strep now because it mutated so much. I have to do shots and possibly IV antibiotics.
Yeah.
I come from one of those families and there shouldn't be any allowance for this shit. Fair. I'm there. My first impulse, like, say less.
Right.
I'm gonna take you to a doctor.
Right.
You know. So Brenda comes along and kind of laughs at Shannon for the. I didn't write it. I swear I didn't write it. But Brenda grew up with, if you can walk, you're not sick. I still have a hard time admitting when I'm sick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Mom was okay, and Dad was the one that was you're not sick one. He only got sick one day in a year, so you couldn't be sick. Yeah. No, I'm like, believe me, I'm familiar. Like,
we're both familiar with that. You know, you were famous for hiding my computer and keyboard.
Yeah, he has to be denied access to work when he's sick.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm fine. It's just a flesh wound. I'm fine.
Uh-huh.
It's some bullshit. Reattach your leg and go to bed.
Yeah. Well, fine. Bring me the cat's guts.
Yeah.
But, you know, but I grew up in the same type of household, but I think that we are moving past that. Like, companies are now firing employees for not calling in sick.
Yeah. Well, and then I will say companies really do, like schools, companies, and then like the lovely, what kind of parent do you have and how fucked are they about the school system?
Right.
Because let's be real, that's now gotten worse.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the truancy policies, I'm sitting here going, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, y'all are nuts.
Right.
You're just nuts. But anyway, that's my soapbox for the evening. Schools are nuts for the truancy policies they're now developing.
Right.
At least some of them. Like, some of these are so extreme, it's ridiculous. You're just trying to lock parents up.
Right.
It wasn't enough to create a school to prison pipeline for the kids. Now the parents are in on the action, and
Right.
you're putting them in jail
Right.
for the most ridiculous, like, think it through. It's a wet paper bag. Think your way out of it.
Exactly.
Situations. So, yeah, no. But employers, I will say, it does seem like they are getting better. I have been through that experience with an employer from both sides, and it was the same employer.
Right.
So little background, this was one of those employers that was like, are you really sick? Are you sure you can't come in? And then like guilts you, aggravates you, harasses you. Like, I had emergency gallbladder surgery and got read the riot act because I wasn't going to be back at work on Monday morning after having emergency surgery on Sunday morning.
Right.
Like, key emphasis there, they don't do emergency surgeries on Sundays unless it's an emergency and it's bad.
Right.
All right? So that's how my gallbladder came out. So I got all kinds of grief, annoyance, aggravation for the whole week. Like, I had to call in daily to yet again let them know I wasn't going to be there.
Right.
And then, you know, go through this whole thing. But then I turn around and flash forward, and I've worked through things, I've struggled through things, and I've been sick at work and done the whole day of like, I have 103 fever and I feel like crap. And then, which flu was it? H1N1. Yeah, H1N1 comes through. Because I never can remember the actual like other press name for it, but right. H1N1 is what I had. And well, that's a little further down the road. Anyway, our whole office got sick. Like, we were dropping like flies with it. And all of a sudden, now that this is really harmful, and you know, the owner of the or the president of the company knows that he could get sick, take it home to his wife, and kids and they could die. Now, if we so much as think we feel bad, don't come in, go to the doctor. You can't come back for a week after you get diagnosed.
Right.
Oh, well, that's cute.
Right.
So I actually did get sick, but I didn't feel bad. Like I was like comparatively, I was doing pretty good in the beginning. H1N1 was a sneaky little bastard, let me tell you. Because it starts out and it's just like, yeah, I kind of don't feel okay. The foreshadowing of that one. So anyway, they sent me home. And we're like, you have to go to the doctor and you can't come back till you do.
Right.
Okay, whatever. So I go to the doctor. Yup, H1N1. Okay. So, message the office, let them know, blah, blah, blah. We hope you feel better, yada, yada, yada. All right. The next morning I get up. I have a spiked fever. I feel like death warmed over. Okay, see, here's what happened. My boss decided that, okay, since I can't be in the office, I can, however, work from home. And so for that entire 40-hour week, I took 8 hours, 8 hours of PTO is what it totaled up to.
Right.
Now that was a severe reduction because I was working like 80-some hour weeks at that point.
Right.
So that was a severe reduction of how much work I did. Like I only did 32 hours of work that week.
Right. And the place fell apart.
Not only that, but then I go back in, I fill out my little PTO request for the hours I missed, turn it in, and I get called into my boss's office. And she's like, what is this? And I'm like, I was out last week because I was sick, and y'all told me to fill out a PTO form for the hours that I didn't work. You only had 8 hours. I said, well, 4 of those were on Monday when you sent me home, half day. And then, I managed about 4 hours, an hour each day for the next 4. Like, I just worked through lunch and then scooted out at 4. And she's like, are you serious right now? And I'm like, yeah, I worked 32 hours last week with, what's your problem? So anyway, my boss got yelled at. For what the hell was that?
Well, you're just glorified clerks.
Oh, yeah, over-glorified clerical. That's what our company said, or the company's owner, not the president, the owner had said that IT was over-glorified clerical. I'm like, yeah, and I'm sure y'all paid for some of the mistakes I made that week because goddamn, I was messed up. Like, I don't know what I did wrong that week, but I will guarantee I did stuff wrong that week. Like, yeah, there's no way.
No way. Guaranteed.
Oh, but yeah. Ooh, this is going to be a hot topic one tonight.
It will be. We'll see if he registers this. All right, we still got comments. School nurse sends them home and tells me not to send them back until no vomiting for 24 hours. I get in trouble for following the rule. So guess what? Not everyone's gonna suffer. I send the kids right the next day and tell the nurse to tell them to walk home. It's less than a block down the street, and if she thinks they don't need to be in school because of their policy, is stupid.
Yeah, so I do like the theory here.
Right.
So now I'm just puke on the principal. Enough teachers and principals get thrown up on, they'll refuse to work till the school board changes their stupid bullshit policy.
Yes. because you only get 9 absences in a year.
Mm-hmm. 9. Well, okay. If the kids miss 9 days without doctor notes, they make you go to truancy court. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I mean, here's the thing. I understand this in a work environment. Okay, like if you apply this to adults, I can understand that.
Mm-hmm.
These are kids. Here's the thing about childhood is there are a lot of like chicken pox. All right. You get that in childhood. Cytomegalovirus. You're supposed to get that in childhood. I was the stupid one who got it as an adult.
Of course you did.
But all these things, it's a variable little cesspool over there. Okay.
Right.
Okay. And most of these things in children who get it at appropriate ages,
Mm-hmm.
it's not that big a deal. You just keep them home. You keep them hydrated. You try to keep their fever down. You try to make them comfortable. They feel better in a few days. It's okay.
Right.
It's okay. No doctor needed. Everyone knows what fucking chickenpox looks like.
Right.
Not a question. You know what chickenpox is.
All right.
Not a problem. There's nothing your doctor's going to do. Nothing. Nothing. Your kid has chickenpox. Take him home. Try to make him comfortable.
All right. Wait out the 2 weeks.
Wait it out.
Yeah.
You have the flu. There's nothing really to treat that other than like Theraflu, and all those are comfort remedies.
All right.
You know what I mean? This is make you feel better, not to make you well.
Well, I debate that one because I have my own little flu remedy that works lovely. It's called 2 shots of whiskey and some cinnamon tea.
Not an endorsed medical. Like, just run this flavor. Just run this flavor. But we all have
2 shots of NyQuil, go to bed for 8 hours, get up and pull a 16-hour shift. You can do it.
Not medical advice. I'm just saying. And Shannon points out, I can't give my kids whiskey, Aeson.
Yes, you can. They are over the age of 2 months.
No, you can't.
Yes, you can. You're going to give it to them in their cough syrup anyhow. Just skip the flavoring.
Well, that's a fair debate, okay? Like, let's just take a moment with that. We're not talking about get your kids drunk.
No.
But, I mean, fair enough. There is some alcohol in cough syrup. At least the good shit.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, Brenda, that was probably to knock you out.
Yeah.
Knock you out. That was the goal plan. I understand because I had Mom pulled a good one. I have to give my mother credit for this one. This one worked out. I had an earache for an entire week. I went back to school and got chicken pox the very next day, that day, and came home with it, basically, and then woke up the next morning sick. So, Mom got smart. For the earache, they had given me eardrops that knocked me out.
Like every other medicine.
Totally knocked me out. 2 drops in my ear, I'm down. Down. Non-functional. So I come home with chicken pox and I won't stop scratching. She's put socks on my hands. Okay. That's one of the tricks. You put socks on your children's hands and then they don't dig. I won't stop. So she goes, I got this. She eardropped me for the next week.
Uh-huh.
Like, I don't really... I remember the socks going on my hands and then nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Till she woke me up to go to school. Because I no longer had chicken pox. It was like, I had chicken pox. I didn't have chicken pox.
Yeah. So, But anyway, all right.
Oh God! So Shannon's mama took whorehound candy, put it in a baby food jar, stuffed it full, and poured whiskey in it. Shannon gets croup at the drop of a hat as a kid. Guess who gets a shot of candy syrup every 2 hours? I spent every winter with a buzz from the age of 2 until I was old enough to not get croup. Oh, Shannon. Oh, Shannon. I'm so sorry.
There is a bottle of what is it? Irish Rose underneath the sink, just for children.
Oh, God. Oh, isn't that like 20 years old?
I don't know. It's closer to 30.
Oh, God.
It'll cure anything.
I'm sure it will at this point. It'll cure living, too.
Whoa. Now it gets better with age.
2,000 proof alcohol.
Hey, it's an antibiotic.
Oh. Oh, Brenda. My grandma gave my aunt paregoric drops in her bottle over the counter back then for croup. Kid slept for 6 months of her first year. Shannon, fair enough. Look, they used to give cocaine tablets for teething, so that doesn't surprise me.
And I think it's a wonderful medicine when used properly. The problem is it's not regulated because they got stupid with it.
Oh. I mean, it's just weird, like, looking back at medical history and some of the products that were developed and why they were developed and what they were developed for and how they were used. Like, once upon a time, you could buy morphine over the counter.
Yep.
That was long time ago, but
oh, come on. Back in the early 1900s, i.e. 1910, you could buy opium in bottles like Tylenol.
Yes, 100 years ago. Like,
Yep.
That's the key point here. 100 years ago, we were a long ways away from knowing some shit. And then they figured it out, and we moved on, and we don't do that anymore. Like, sorry, heroin used to be over the counter.
Yes.
So many things used that now these are hardcore drugs, land you in prison drugs.
Mm-hmm.
Do not use them because they're illegal as hell. But back then,
but does it not make you question why they're illegal?
some of it does. Some of it. Like I like marijuana. I will never understand how that got made illegal. I know the history. I know why, but still.
Yeah, it got illegal because it was destroying the newspaper industry.
Well, the paper industry. Well, the hemp industry was a threat to the paper industry, and taking out, because it's a two-prong event. Taking out marijuana was a goal to prevent the growth of hemp, no matter whether or not it had THC or had enough to make it viable as a drug that we commonly know as marijuana that we smoke, instead of just being hemp, the plant that makes paper and other products, and its THC content is so fucking low, it's pointless.
Right.
Like, good luck. Try to smoke it. You're not going to get anything.
Right. Headache. You'll get a headache.
So that was prong one.
Mm-hmm.
Then we flash forward, and so we just had a moral / semi-legal status for it. And then we flash forward, and we start, and I believe that was under Reagan, the war on drugs.
Right.
That looked to basically disenfranchise people of color by revisiting these laws that no one really cared about,
Right.
until all of a sudden it could be used to lower the number of Democratic voters.
Right.
So, hi. People of color at the time generally voted Democratic. And if we target those communities with drug laws, we will reduce the number of people eligible to vote.
Right.
That's our history on marijuana. Hi. Isn't it fun? No, like heroin, that one I understand making illegal.
I don't understand making it illegal. And here's why.
Okay.
I don't understand why make a medication that is used as a pain medicine at end-of-life stages illegal.
No, that with morphine, I can understand.
No,
although I think
heroin for that.
Pardon?
They were using heroin before they used morphine. Heroin came first. Opioid came first, then heroin, then morphine.
Right.
Okay. So why not make it, and now we've got this opium epidemic going on with Lortab City. And it's like, we backed that train up a little bit and, stayed with keeping cocaine a prescription medicine that is a pill form that has to be and is properly regulated. Would we have the fentanyl problem that we have?
And no, I do think that we have in many instances, created a better mousetrap, created a better mouse.
Right.
In which we had done more to control and manage the usage, then we wouldn't have had analogs to it created.
Right.
And many of those analogs are stronger and worse than the original drug that those drugs were seeking to replace or take the place of, or whose uses are very similar to.
Right.
No, I do get that argument, and I'm really comfortable with that argument.
Right.
But I also understand, at the point in which we made it illegal, it had become more of a social problem.
Right.
In that, I think this was more of a knee-jerk reaction to the social problem that was created. And I see this more simplistic thinking as if we make it illegal, then they can't do it, and then we don't have a problem.
Right.
And it's sort of like, busing your homeless population out of your area or giving your homeless population a plane ticket to somewhere else. Yeah, that got rid of the problem.
But did it?
For you.
Right.
Didn't solve anything.
Right. Now we have, minors that work all their lives addicted to painkillers instead of addressing the problem. Now we have moms just trying to get through the day by any means necessary because the insurance company says, oh, we can't give you this formulation to treat, your medical condition. So, we create a bigger systematic problem instead of letting doctors be doctors.
Right. Yeah, none of this is a one thing is the key linchpin.
Right.
It's all of it in combination has created a massive problem with healthcare, with medication, with how we, pay for healthcare, and how, those paying for healthcare, insurance companies, decide they don't want to pay for healthcare.
Right.
At any cost to you, possibly.
Right. I mean, because let's face it, if cocaine was legal as a medication, i.e., a doctor can write a patient a prescription for cocaine. So that means the drug manufacturer has to produce a drug that is over 3,000 years old. Guess what? There's not a fucking copyright on it.
Right. It's going to be very cheap.
Yes. Instead of, I don't know, let's take a look at current prices.
Oh, let's make for fun search histories. What's the current price of cocaine?
Current price of let's see if I can still spell it. I won't say what I'm looking up.
Oh, so anyway, going along with this conversation, Shannon points out anyone else's teachers not like the argument drug money gets countries through recessions.
Right. It's true.
Well, it's true, yes. Because I wish it's not that I was too dumb to have made the argument as a kid. I never made the argument as a kid because I was that kid who, like, it took me a long time to get there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know. I kind of locked into Dare and was like, okay, I'm here. I get it. Awesome. Cool. And drugs are bad. Drugs are horrible. Drug money is bad. Everything with drugs is bad.
Right.
I was there. Like you gave this as a scientific looking lesson. You broke it down for me in ways that made logical sense. Like, you had good arguments there. You did great job. You fucked up though. Like, and this is the legacy of Dare. You fucked up.
Right.
See, you went through and you told us all these things and you ensconced them in science. You made it look like this was actual, real things. You lied to us about a few of those drugs.
Yeah. All right.
Marijuana being A1 on the list.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you flat, bald-faced lied about marijuana.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you told us crap about marijuana that was so untrue. And so this lovely generation of kids that should have said no to drugs, thank you, Nancy Reagan, we were good until we found out how badly you lied to us.
Mm-hmm.
And then we didn't trust anything you told us.
Right.
Like, you effed up. You had a whole generation that would have stayed away from cocaine, away from heroin, away from drugs if you'd just been honest. But you lied to us about one, and then that made us, like, go out searching and, like, okay, let me see what's going on here. And that's been proven in the data. Dare lied, a lot of kids tried drugs.
Right. All right, so get your handy dandy calculator out.
Oh boy. All right, 1 second. Sorry, I really got to clean off my desk.
Right.
It's getting to the point I can't move my mouse. This is bad.
Do I need to?
Alrighty, what we got?
All right. So $2,973.10.
Okay.
Plus $249.
Okay.
Equals
$3,222.10.
Yep. That is the daily cost of pain management for an end-stage cancer patient.
Okay.
Comparative. Now, this is comparative to if they were to use the original protocol for this, before all this crap was made illegal, $249 for 10 days.
Okay, so $249 period, like nothing else after that?
No.
All right, so that takes the daily cost down to $24.90.
Yeah.
That's your stark contrast.
Yeah.
It is literally costing $3,190 some a day extra to manage pain.
Right.
And the differential, and this is where it sometimes becomes important, is like, what's the differential?
Well,
Like, is this better pain management for $3,190 some dollars?
well, the differential is this: one is a combination that is used in hospice and is FDA approved.
Okay.
The other is protocol from the 1920s,
Mhm.
applied to current street drug values that we can, guess about how much it costs.
Okay. Okay. Well, but I'm just saying. So, other than the it has FDA approval and it's a common treatment.
Right.
I mean, are we talking about better pain management, more consistent pain management,
Yes.
longer lasting? As in, what do you get for the $3,190? Is it more consistent, easy to administer, less likely to, accidentally kill someone? Like, what you getting there?
You're getting an internal pump that's attached through a blood vessel. You're getting pumped medication, and you're getting pills that cause hallucinogenics.
Okay, and that's for the $3,222.
Correct.
Okay, versus what would you be getting for $24.90 a day?
That is what you would be. Well, that's
I don't need the drug name.
Right. That's $249 for 10 days. And
Right, and I divided it by 10, so it's $24.90 a day.
Right. So it would be 5 pills that you take daily.
Okay. And if someone is having trouble, because there's a lot of different forms of cancer, and a lot of different cancers involve inability to swallow, inability to keep food down. Okay.
You dissolve it. I mean,
and so it's just an injection.
Yeah.
Okay. And so is that, I mean, and I'm weighing this out seriously, is what is the value of $3,190 in terms of pain management?
Right.
Is are you getting something that is significantly better enough to justify that?
No. You're not.
Interesting.
It's the same receptors. It allows you to be a little bit, maybe hyped up if you're a little bit more conscious. It hits the same pain sensors, and it's not an opioid form of medication.
Okay. Oh goodness, Brenda's sending me private messages. They're always great. So no, I'm just that makes me struggle with the idea of, so what are we doing here?
Well, what we're doing
in terms of healthcare, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Because we've been on this rabbit hole chase of bigger, better, faster, more profitable for pharmaceutical companies, screw the patient.
Right.
For a long time now.
Right.
And fundamentally, unless that $3,222.10 a day.
Plus the implant surgery. We're not counting that. We're just counting the cost of the medication.
Okay. The medication once you've had the surgery. Unless we're fully covering that.
Right.
And perhaps wouldn't cover the $24.90, which to me sounds dumb.
Right.
Sounds dumb. Because honestly, the $24.90 solution, if made in an actual facility,
right,
prepackaged, lovely, well-dosed, manufacturing process, probably going to be cheaper than $24.90, or could be. The cost of manufacture would go down significantly.
Right.
Because you're no longer paying the illicit drug upcharge.
Right.
Because you're not.
Right.
Because that's the thing that exists with illegal drugs, is when you are buying drugs illegally, their prices are higher because the illegal activities required to get them to you.
Right.
So yeah, I I would personally struggle with that
Right.
of having because I'm assuming, in the scenario, I'm having to picture myself. I already have cancer.
Mm-hmm.
I am terminal.
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably in pain
Mm-hmm.
already
Mm-hmm.
because, duh, this is why we're doing a pain medication. And the idea that I'm moving towards the end of my life because I'm terminal, and you want to open me up and do a surgery for a device for a medication that's going to cost $3,200 a day.
Right.
And potentially I'm going to last one day to some number of months in the future
Mm-hmm.
after I have this surgery as I'm being pumped full of this drug.
Uh-huh.
Does anyone else sit there and struggle with the logic of that one?
Yeah. And furthermore, it's mildly addictive. Both of them are technically addictive.
Well, technically, you're at the end of your life. Like, we're not planning 40 years down the road when you've ruined your career
Right.
because of your addiction.
Right.
Like, I'm sorry this may be inappropriate, but I figure if you have cancer, then becoming an addict, really,
Right.
there's not a better time in your life to become one.
Right. Well,
Like,
but that's what we're pointing out here, or at least I'm trying to point out, is like, I don't know, it's like psilocybin. Go read some medical research on it when you've got some time and you want to actually delve into some deeper scientific theory there. They're finding that it is great treatment for the pain of MS, the nerve tension of MS. It's illegal
okay.
because it can grow in the backyard of a swampy pig farm and, cost nothing to produce. And, they can't make a profit off of it because anyone with a pig farm can grow it.
Okay. So it would be a lovely boon to a lot of these farmers who are sitting there with their fields being, laying barren
Mm-hmm.
because the government paid them not to grow,
Right.
could grow an alternative product
Mm-hmm.
that, while raising pigs.
Right. But it's
Okay.
not profitable.
Well, but it sounds like it's basically just plant the seeds and rip it out of the ground at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Or end of its growing season.
Right.
So it may not be highly profitable, but it's not all that effort.
Right. But it's not base profitable. Anyone can grow psilocyanide. It's a mold. It grows on animal feces.
Mhm.
It's a mushroom and grows anywhere. Yeah. These are the theories when you go and read Victorian medicine and compare it to today, and you're like, what are we doing?
Now, granted, some of this, and I think it's important to say, again, no way is this medical advice. Don't necessarily, don't go out and just try to do this.
No.
This is just a higher level thought process of like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing? We're just propping up a pharmacy, potentially. Because there could be, there are people far more skilled and trained in this who may have nuanced argument.
Right.
I'll allow that.
Mm-hmm.
But off the top, it's like, what are we doing? Why are we sitting here propping up a pharmaceutical industry for no other reason than to prop up a pharmaceutical industry?
Right.
Because I don't even feel bad
Mm-hmm.
at the idea that, oh my God, a pharmaceutical company is going to sell one less drug.
Right.
Like, y'all, you really think that money is going so significantly to pay for, workers? Like, no.
For research and development.
Oh, bless your heart if you think those scientists get money.
All right.
They are working their butts off to make these companies rich. And so there's usually a small collection of people who do nothing.
Yeah. All
no
right.
physical labor whatsoever.
Right. So currently it costs the drug companies between $2 and $4 to produce a vial of insulin. And currently, let's go and do this. So they cost them $4 to do it, and a current vial of insulin per month is $58 per vial.
And that's currently the good price.
Yeah, that's currently the good price. Yeah. In Canada, it's $12 a vial. Step across the U.S. border as of January 6th, it was $98.70.
Yeah. Well, and then we have drugs like because we saw this happen with the EpiPens.
Mm-hmm.
Mylon drastically increased the price of those because they could.
Right.
That's it. Like there was no new information, no new research, no new delivery system, no new anything.
Mm-hmm.
They became the only manufacturer
Right.
of EpiPens.
Right.
So they upped the price because they could.
Right.
And it literally became a moment where you're presenting potentially families of limited means with a very hard choice to make between like car payment and or rent,
right,
or child with severe allergy.
Right.
Pick one. You can't have both.
Right.
I mean,
yeah, especially when you're like dropping, I don't know, for a month's worth of insulin. And we'll go on the oldest one, the Narvada and Narvada Flex. No, let's go hemoglobin M and hemoglobin K. $1,300 a month. A month.
Jesus.
Yeah. Now granted, they're making moves to cap the price of insulin because they're raking in millions of dollars.
Yeah.
And not made a change.
Millions? You think it's just millions? Like, oh, don't be deceived.
Right.
Like, we're talking billions of dollars.
Right.
It is what these medications make these companies.
Right.
Like, hi, what are we doing?
Right.
Because yes, there are people that make these drugs and they work in factories and they deliver and they do the things.
Right.
They get a very small percentage of that money.
Exactly. Yeah.
There's a whole board of investors and executives, all these other people, that make a humongous amount of money off of it.
Right. And this is the other thing, and Brenda brings up, about the healthcare workers being worried about her father getting addicted to pain medicine at the end of his life.
Really, seriously, who actually has that concern? Like, if there's a moment to get addicted.
Right. But the other point of that is here's the thing. This is a medical known fact, and this is another problem that occurs with those, they'll get addicted people. The other part of that is they start pain medicine too early. Like they start hitting high powers. So then they got to start doing combos. So then they got to start pulling in other things like allergy medicine and antidepressants and everything to create a new pain medicine that would equal out pain medicines already there if they were used properly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. Yep. Well, but yeah, and some of it is that I'm quite sure, but just the idea, like
Yeah.
Like, we were having a discussion the other night, and it also, and I know this sounds horrible to say out loud, it also informs my beliefs surrounding our dog. One of them,
Right.
she's a 14-year-old Pomeranian.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, she's so far out of her, or excuse me, no, she's older than that, isn't she?
She's older than that. She can drink and vote.
Okay, so, and that's in human years, not
Yes.
dog years. So anyway, she's a little old lady. She equates out, I know, to like 140 some years old in human.
Right.
If you take the 7-year dog.
23.
Yeah. So insanely old. I have this theory, and it's the same one I had with my grandmother, is what is it going to do? Kill her?
Yeah.
Like, that was the theory I had with my grandmother. Not because I don't like my grandmother, not because I'm trying to get her, to go with God a little faster, but in the general theory of my grandmother was 90 some years old, okay? Her body's worn out. Her mind is worn out.
Mm-hmm.
Her existence isn't all that great.
Right.
Like, a lot of systems and parts had started to wear out and fail.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So if she wants some ice cream for breakfast, fucking eat the ice cream. I don't give a shit.
Right.
You want ice cream for lunch too? Go right ahead. You want ice cream for dinner? Have at it. You want ice cream at 2 a.m. just cause?
Mm-hmm.
Have it.
Right.
Have it. Yeah. What are we doing? So it informs our situation with our dog. If that dog looks at me wanting an Oreo, by God, I will break up an Oreo. She is 140 some years old and human.
Yeah.
She can have an Oreo. Nothing else that she's had in her life has killed her yet.
Right.
Like,
And
God knows, I'm probably the most thoughtful in some instances of people that have handed her food. Like, what's it going to do? Kill her? She is the equivalent of 140 in a human. Right. She's 20, she's a little old lady.
Yeah. Well, we've had this discussion. You'll look at me and go, can she have that? She wants it.
But I tried to think about it. Like, she can technically have whatever she wants. I don't care.
Right.
I'm not going to care. I'm asking the question more so, like, can dogs have this?
Right.
Or should she have this? So that I can also record in my brain that the 7-year-old puppy,
yes,
and the 4-year-old puppy, or the 3-year-old puppy, whatever he's up to now,
he's 3.
They're not allowed.
Right.
Like, oh, no, you don't get a Oreo because you are a dog and you can't have chocolate.
Okay. For the record, the only thing I do not feed my dogs is grapes or raisins. Grapes, raisins, they cannot have. Onions, they get them. Garlic, they get them. They want a hot pepper jelly sandwich, they get a hot pepper jelly sandwich. And they eat it. And they're fine.
Well, but some of these things are typically bad in concentration. Like, chocolate, it's not a new thing in our family to have a dog that loves chocolate. Like, my parents had a poodle who, my parents didn't give the dog chocolate. The dog gave itself chocolate, all right? There was no stopping this dog.
Mm-hmm.
Pierre wanted chocolate. Pierre got chocolate. Pierre didn't give two shits what anyone said.
Right.
So, basically, this was the most houndy little poodle known to humankind, intelligent as hell, and probably the most photographed poodle in all of human history. Right. But as the story goes, it didn't matter where you put the chocolate. Pierre would find it. Pierre didn't give a shit.
Right.
Pierre would eat it, and it was your tough luck.
Right.
Now go clean up his crap that's shiny. Because typically what he found were Hershey Kisses, and he was not really good without opposable thumbs at unwrapping the chocolate before he ate the chocolate.
Ah.
So everyone knew by the glitter trail Pierre had
Right. But no, a lot of people are like, oh, my border collie, the vet looked at me and said, you don't need to be feeding him dog food. It actually will upset his stomach more. And we're like, okay. So, yes, he gets kibble, but he gets fed real food.
Yeah, he gets real food.
Yep.
And again, yeah, I'm kind of there.
Yeah.
For, at least, and most definitely with the older Pomeranian. What is it going to do? Kill her? I'm sorry, we've already made our peace with the fact that she has so outlived her life expectancy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she has had a phenomenal life. She has done amazing things. She has survived 3 owners.
Working on killing the third one slowly.
Oh, sorry, working on killing the third.
Yeah.
Like, if it makes her happy,
She gets
let her have it.
Exactly. I don't know where we got this idea also of keeping humans alive until they're thousands of years old. Like, I think the story of Methuselah got read too much to the generation before us.
Well, and I go a slightly different direction with that one. Is that somewhere along the way in medicine, we lost compassion for quality of life, over quantity of life, and this is another part of the situation with my grandmother. Is I always hated when someone would ask, like, well, how old is she? And, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97. On down the line, because this question got asked often, and, she kept aging. And they'd be like, she's just so fortunate to live so long. Don't you wish that will happen for you?
No.
And I've looked people dead in the eye and jaw dropped them when it's like, no, I don't want to live to be 90 some years old. Do you know what her life is like? Her husband is dead. Her sibling is dead. Her parents are dead. Most of her family members are dead. Everyone she ever knew practically is dead. Her best friend is not even a woman that she particularly likes, but she's the last bitch standing, i.e., above ground, not below.
Right.
This is her life. Everything hurts. Everything hurts. She can't do what she wants to. She can't go anywhere without being dependent on someone else. This isn't her personality at all.
Right.
I was happy with the length of her life when she was still able to go and do whatever she wanted to, and we were able to medically manage any issues that she had.
Right.
Go, enjoy, do. Go to Alaska. Go work at the volunteer at the hospital. Go do whatever you want to, Mama. You live your best life. At the point in which we got to the other side of that hump, and there's no managing it. There's no managing it. Like, as in, we're not getting her out of pain. We're just making it less.
Right.
We're blunting it.
Right.
So it's a little better. But we can't fix her balance. We cannot fix her hearing. She has lost part of her eyesight. She has a list of problems that make her life hard.
Right.
And uncomfortable. That's not who I want to be.
Right.
I don't know. I'm good with my life in somewhere before we break the hump into the downhill slide of it just gets worse.
Right.
We can't fix it. Nothing's going to make it better, really. Like, you're not going to ever feel good again.
Right.
You're just going to feel less bad.
Yeah.
Like, no.
All right, let's get over to relationship advice. Remember, the poll is up, and we'll go from there.
Absolutely. All right. So that was a bit of a jaunt. Sorry about that, guys. I hope you enjoyed the conversation because it did look like you did.
Yeah.
So, all right. So moving into relationship advice. I, 38 male, will be working for the rest of my life, and my wife, 41 female, doesn't seem to care. I, 38 male, had a rough day today and nearly had a panic attack. Wife, 41 female, couldn't care less. I feel like I can't control anything, and just as soon as I start to get a little bit ahead, something else comes crashing down. I've been a reservist since 2004. It took longer than most to graduate college related to training and deployments. Graduated during the recession, couldn't find a job, had to go back to school to become a nurse, didn't want to, but it seemed like the only option at the time. Now I've been a nurse for 11 years. The past several years have been really tough, really rough in this profession, and I dread going to work. After paying off our debt, I'm only just now able to start saving a decent amount of money towards retirement, but I feel way behind. I'm sure that I'll be working for the rest of my life. We live frugally, shitty house, shitty cars, and 1 4-day vacation a year, and I'm saving as much as I can. I'm putting away $21,000 a year, but when I do the math, and I do this daily, I won't have enough until 68, assuming 8% growth and 4% withdrawal. We've struggled, sacrificed, and still feel like we're barely getting by. I feel guilty that I haven't been able to save much for my kids so far. Often I have an internal debate. Should I save for them, or try to have something for retirement? I've felt worse lately because our close friends recently retired and they're in their early 40s. Further, I just got back from a month of military duty where I was one of the oldest ones in the group. Everyone had much nicer cars, houses, vacations, and retirement security. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I know I shouldn't compare, but it's blatantly obvious they're doing better than I. We live so tightly that our finances consume me. Every time I have to pay for something unexpected, like fixing the car, I feel like it's adding on to a prison sentence. Between my civilian and military jobs, I often only get 4 days off a month. Also, miss out on most holidays because staffing is so terrible. I try to talk to my wife. Relax, we'll figure it out. We always do. You only live once. This is not helpful or a solution. She has MS, and every time I'm feeling down, usually because we're going nowhere or backwards, she reminds me that she has MS and discounts how I'm feeling. Relatively new diagnosis, and we're still working through this too. Oh,
Yeah.
someone needs therapy.
Well, someone needs therapy, but someone needs something a little bit more than therapy.
Okay.
Okay? Someone needs to do some calculations here. One, you're not responsible for saving for your children. Let them procure the life they want to procure. People do not like this fact or opinion of mine. Save for yourself. Take care of yourself. Secondly, question whether driving shitty cars is a good thing. Because
it's expensive to be poor.
It's expensive to be poor. The insurance is higher. These are things that the gas is higher that you're driving to work. You're in a field that you can't work until you die. You need to be looking at your field very quickly. Meaning your military service will be not usable soon. You can't be a 68-year-old serviceman. You also cannot be you may be a 68-year-old nurse, but those days on the floor is going to get to be a lot. So, you need to start questioning what you're doing there. What's your next plan? And also remembering, you're not, your retirement may be at 61. Your retirement may be at 60. Your retirement may be at 52. and I wouldn't be playing with money. I really would not do high finance. 21,000 a year is pretty good.
It's some impressive savings.
Yeah.
But here's my thing.
Uh-huh.
Right now, you're basically working yourself and saving money, and I put saving money in air quotes, at a rate that is uncomfortable.
Uh-huh.
You're not there.
Right.
Is your future retirement this not guaranteed period of your life
Uh-huh.
where you may or may not get to enjoy it for even a month
Right.
before you drop dead, get a terminal diagnosis, or need institutionalization for care?
Uh-huh.
Is that really what you want to put all, and I do mean all,
Uh-huh.
of your physical labor
Uh-huh.
and your financial reward
Right.
to? Like, is that period that you're not guaranteed anything?
Right.
You may drop dead before this, and at the rate you're working and how stressed you're staying, that's a real likelihood.
Right.
Because you're not taking time for yourself, you're not doing anything positive for yourself.
Right.
And you're now emotionally, mentally getting to the point where you're a breeding ground for problems.
Right.
And I don't mean mental health conditions. I just mean literally your mind actually does influence your body.
Right.
And if you're creating all this stress,
Uh-huh.
you're creating this petri dish that
Yes.
is beautiful for a whole host of medical conditions.
Right.
I think you've overshot the idea.
Right. The other thing there is, and yes, Brenda, she does work as much as she can. She's a teacher, not very mobile though. So first plan would be to take some of that retirement money, get you guys both cars that she can comfortably drive and you can comfortably drive, preferably not financed. Second thing is you're going to get a 6-month emergency fund to handle all these pop-ups, and then you're going to get another account that is going to pay the bills. Okay? And you're going to let that grow. And you're a nurse, so you can automate your paychecks, you can automate your stuff. We need to take the focus off of retirement accounts. Move the focus over to enjoying your life.
Well, creating balance.
Yeah.
Period. Like, it just, I like, start small.
Yeah.
Don't look at it just enjoying your life, because that's kind of the high end. That's where you should end up, not like your immediate.
Right.
Go enjoy your life. Look at balancing.
Mm-hmm.
Just try to balance, because you're sitting here laying out in this post everything that's wrong.
Right.
You know it.
Right.
You know this is wrong. That this isn't how you should be living. This isn't how you should be feeling. You should not.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't even know that you hate your job, because that's like you're dreading going to work every day. I don't know that it's about your job.
I think they're hitting burnout.
Possibly.
Which is
But
dangerous,
wouldn't you?
risky behaviors.
Well, but here's my thing. Wouldn't you be hitting burnout as well? Forget the job and all it entails. Wouldn't you also be hitting burnout if all you're thinking of is your retirement, and you're so far behind, and this other fucking shitty bill, and I'm a shitty parent, and I would dread getting out of bed. Forget going to work. I would dread getting out of bed if that's all that's consuming my brain.
Right.
I'm going to hate my job. I'm going to hate my job.
You're going to hate your life.
Because,
sit here and obsessing over it doesn't work. What does work is automating and functionality. You're not like, I know that this month I have to earn $148 a day. That's what's in my head. That's what's on paper. That's what the books say.
Well,
Yep.
in retirement,
Mm-hmm.
which can be very important, like trying to compare one person's retirement to another person's retirement to another person's retirement, it's all going to be different.
Right.
We all make different priorities. And yeah, there's things we can do differently, and there are ways that we can be frugal and save money. Dude, you're so far down to frugal.
Yeah.
You spell it CHEAP.
Yeah.
And
Which
cheap is
costs
expensive. Cheap is expensive.
Yes. You know.
Shitty cars cost more to operate. Shitty homes
Mm-hmm.
can create more issues for your spouse with MS.
Yes.
Like, that would be my other, moment is take a step back, look at your life. How much are you spending out
Mm-hmm.
that you wouldn't be
Right.
if you had a decent car? If your wife didn't have to climb through a house, potentially, I don't know your living situation,
Right.
but potentially climb through a house that makes her hurt more.
Right.
That is harder for her to navigate, that takes those spoons she wakes up with,
Mm-hmm.
however many there are for that day, and depletes 1, 2, or 3
Right.
off the top, just trying to go up and down stairs,
Right.
walk down a sloped driveway.
Right.
Like, these are all things that are detracting and pulling away and creating struggle in your life.
Right.
And then that in turn creates more problems and more expenses
Right.
and more problems.
Mm-hmm.
And you're in a vicious circle right now. You've got to stop circling this drain
Right.
and figure out how to start plugging the holes
Right.
so
And-
that you can float more comfortably.
Right. And get past the shit that we were taught. And this is the terrible part. And this is, maybe a little bit of me hopping on the soapbox. But we were taught you live, you work 40 years, you retire. You have a lovely Social Security check. You have a lovely, economy. Everything is just going to be all grand and gross. But you got to work that 40 years. You got to slave away that 80 hours a week. You're a nurse. You're supposed to do X, Y, and Z.
Mhm.
Guys, we were lied to, especially in the nursing field. You were lied to. Those companies are not going to be there for you. They're not going to be continually backing your move. They're not going to be They're not going to be there until you are a patient. Don't be counting on them.
Right. And more to the point, this idea
Mm-hmm.
that you're just going to go get a job, work real hard, and then you're going to go take, 10, 15, 20, 30 years of retirement.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that died.
Yeah.
Like, we had a lovely pension system here in the United States. It was kind of nice. A lot of people worked 40 years for one company and retired from it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 50 years for one company and retired from it. And they did. They did get a decade.
Yeah.
Maybe. If they didn't drop dead at age 50.
Mm-hmm.
But we've moved so far from that.
Right.
But we're still talking about retirement and putting away for retirement.
Yeah.
In many instances, like it's just this one thing you do, and you just work at one place and push yourself to the point with the end goal of retirement.
Mm-hmm.
This also causes people to stay at jobs
Right.
that are wrong for them.
Right.
You're a nurse. You can go anywhere. But if you're sitting there focused on this 40-year, putting in your 40 years or however many years you feel it's going to take,
Right.
you're going to stay in a shitty job longer.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that comes with more problems.
Right. Especially when you could do travel nursing and make 3 times, and it is 3 times what you're currently making.
Potentially, yes, very much so. But here's the deal. If you're staying in a job for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 15 years, till they throw you out,
Mm-hmm.
you're not getting the positive benefits of your job change.
No.
Which is usually an increase in pay.
Yeah.
this model of you get hired and you work till you quit or they throw you out is gone.
Yeah.
Do not do it. Do not do it. You are hurting yourself long term.
All right.
Change jobs.
Yeah.
Get out.
Yeah. Go for higher bids.
Mhm.
All right. So let's check the puzzle, or the puzzle,
The poll.
the poll.
Well, it is a puzzle.
Yep. Ooh, you were very close, but no, you are not the asshole.
Ooh, not the asshole. Wait, there was debate?
There is a debate.
Ooh.
It is a 63 by 33% debate on whether you are the asshole or not.
Ooh.
So
Ooh, that was close.
heated. They're very heated. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to flip it over and let Joe take it from here.
Alrighty, so of course we want to thank Beverly Walker, Mika G, Kathy, Mary Winfield, Brenda, Shannon C, Shannon D, Lady Gwendolyn, Charles Shaw, Tracy Van, Caitlin Bell, and Devin. If you'd like to learn more about us, the show, or how you too can become a Patreon sponsor and receive all the wonderful benefits our baristas receive, please visit us at pcspnetwork.com. Now, speaking of those benefits, for $1, $5, or $10 a month, you can receive an end-of-video credit, as well as discounts on services and readings with Aeson Knight, free classes. And the biggest difference between those three levels is the amount of discount you get on that private appointment with Aeson Knight. At the $1 level, you get a 25% discount. At the $5 level, you get a 50% discount. And at the $10 level, you get a 75% discount. So guys, go check it out. We would love your support.
And also remember that I do have campaigns going on all the time. And like the classes this month, which you need to register if you want to take my candle magic classes. If you're a barista, you get it for free at all levels.
Mm-hmm. And that class is what, $30 some dollars?
$35.
Right. So for $1 a month,
Mm-hmm.
you could get a $35 class.
Right.
Guys, go check it out.
Yeah. So, take advantage. You get 3 months of gallery readings. All right, guys. So I will be here Thursday with Sandy for coffee and tea, and we'll be throwing some shade. I also have a sale coming up this weekend. It's going to be fun.
Ooh, that's a good one too.
Yeah, what is it? Yeah.
That is that's your weekend sale. I'm not giving away the code.
Mm-hmm.
But that is a lovely sale with a 50% discount. Has that email gone out yet, or do you guys still have time to sign up for the list?
It has gone out.
Okay, so you don't have time to sign up for the email list to get this one, but this is what he sent out to his email list subscribers.
Right.
So go join his email list at aesonknight.com.
Right.
And you too could have gotten the free secret code for a 50% off, which is what normally our $5 a month members receive. This is just for this weekend only.
Right.
So it's a super special offer.
Okay.
He doesn't do that often.
Nope. I don't.
Sign up.
It's gone up on Facebook and Instagram. If you want to go and check it out, it is on my socials. We are able now to run sales, so there will be more sales coming. But yes, there's a code for the weekend that gets you 50% off all the readings. You got to go find the code. If you're not part of my mail list, you need to get a hold of my mail list if you want in on that discount.
Yeah, because he sends it straight to your inbox. You don't have to go hunt. It's right there. You just click and sign, or click and put the code in, and you get the discount.
Yep. But if you're a barista, you already get your discount, and you already get the class for free. Not even discount required.
and the gallery reading, and the daily affirmations, and all the cool stuff.
And you get, private pictures. You also get more look at Aeson, and there is a
Oh yeah, the Facebook group.
Yeah.
Oh, we love our Facebook group. Y'all are amazing. Like,
Yes.
we post stuff, they post stuff. You get to see us interact. Like, we
Mhm.
post funny shit there before anywhere else, if it ever makes it anywhere else.
Right.
Some things are just for them.
Right.
Understand? Go sign up. It's $1 a month. It's $12 a year.
Right.
Come on. Come on. Alrighty.
All right. All right. So with that, guys, you guys have a great evening, and we'll see you Thursday.
Bye, y'all.